That's what's going to get us all fired one day, by the way. No, I'm not kidding. We're not going to get fired because our Christian faith. We're going to get fired over him and her right now. You can look at the political environment right now, and you've already got a guy in California fired for saying some things about gender, but they're gonna start persecuting us because we don't believe him and her. It's now a they. So our faith is going to get whittled away by the lawyers. Okay, we saw that when we would do mission trips with James and Mark when we were all younger. We couldn't get vans for a year because the lawyers took it over because they were so scared of the rollover problem. And so suddenly we couldn't do mission trips, and we ended up taking a bunch of cars or renting a huge bus in order to overcome that. And I really think our faith is really going to be in trouble in the long run because they're going to whittle away at it instead of hit us in the face with it. And that's going to be a big persecution problem.
You mean because you're speaking the truth?
Yes.
Exactly.
What do you say?
Because we're speaking the truth and it's going to be
Right, so
considered hate
you
speech.
no, it's
Oh,
it's legal to
yes,
be a
sir.
Christian,
Yes,
but you
sir.
can't say this
Yes,
doctrine
okay,
or this
okay,
doctrine
yeah.
or this doctrine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's also a sign of the times. 50 years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation
Oh no.
about the women in church. Now we do.
Well, and we've already seen that in, over the last decade, and it would really just bug me, especially that no one seemed to care. But I would hear politicians or the media, every time they were talking, they would talk about freedom of worship.
Oh yeah.
You have freedom of worship. You're right. Freedom of worship, freedom of worship, freedom of worship. Well, what is worship? Oh, that's where you people come in this building and what you do here. No, we have freedom of religion, which means what I believe about world and the activity that goes on with how I live my day-to-day life out there. Right? But no, they just, it kind of got slipped in. And I remember, or like I said, but for the last 10 years, every time someone would talk about religious liberty, they would talk about freedom of worship. And that's just always the phrase that got put out there. And it's gotten ingrained in people's minds that freedom of, religion, that the freedom we have to follow Christ, well, that's what we do in this building. Mm-hmm. What you do in your church, well, keep that to yourself. Well, now, wait a minute. That's not what that is. Right. But that's where they're pressing us in. Where the freedoms and liberties we have, they're just drawing those boundaries smaller and smaller.